For most of my life, I thought I wanted to be Steven Spielberg or Martin Scorsese or Quentin Tarantino. Not literally, but you know what I mean. I wanted what they had: the movies, the audiences, the recognition, the feeling that I had finally made it. For years, I chased that dream. What I didn't realize was that the dream itself wasn't the problem. The problem was that I was trying to become someone else. And the harder I chased that version of success, the further away I got from the thing I was actually meant to do. If you're an aspiring filmmaker, writer, an artist, there's a good chance you're making the same mistake. And today I want to tell you a story because it took me 30 years to learn something that I can teach you in 10 minutes. I've loved movies for as long as I can remember. One of my earliest memories is sitting in a movie theater with my mother watching Jaws. I was 5 years old, probably far too young to be watching Jaws, but that movie changed my life. I didn't understand camera angles. I didn't understand directing. I didn't understand storytelling, but I understood something else. I understood wonder. I understood fear. I understood that somehow a group of strangers had reached into my imagination and changed the way I saw the world. And from that moment on, I wanted to do the same thing. And maybe you felt that too. Maybe that's why you're watching this channel. Because somewhere along the way, a movie changed you. And ever since then, you wanted to return the favor. The problem is that artists are ambitious. And ambition can be dangerous because when we're young, we don't just love great artists, we imitate them. We watch Nolan and think, oh, I want to make movies like that. We watch Spielberg, Fincher, Wes Anderson, Sofia Coppola, and we start chasing their vision. We start measuring ourselves against their success. But here's the thing: Spielberg didn't become Spielberg by trying to be somebody else. Neither did Nolan or Scorsese or Coppola. They became themselves, and then they bent the industry around that vision. Most artists try to do the opposite. They bend themselves to fit the industry. That's where the trouble begins. I know because I spent years doing exactly that. I studied, I trained, I learned the craft. I wanted to write books, make movies, tell stories. I dreamed about audiences, about premieres, about having bestsellers, about finally arriving. Like a lot of artists, I kept postponing my life. I told myself, when this happens, then I'll be happy. When I get that opportunity, then I'll know I've made it. When somebody finally recognizes that what I have to offer, then my real life can begin. It was a never-ending waiting game. I didn't realize it at the time, but I was giving away my power because I was waiting for permission. Years later, I was teaching filmmaking at a summer program at Harvard. I was working with a group of young filmmakers. One of them was a girl from Egypt. We were having a production meeting, and she started describing the movie she wanted to make. There was a man chasing kids around, dark hallways, violence, blood. The more she talked, the more obvious it became. I stopped her and I asked, "Are you trying to make a slasher film?" She froze, completely froze, like a deer in the headlights. She looked at me, and after a long pause, she asked a question. A very simple question. Can I? Not how do I? Not should I? Just can I? And in that moment, something clicked. Because I realized she wasn't asking about filmmaking. She was asking for permission. Permission to tell the story she wanted to tell. Permission to trust herself. Permission to create. Suddenly, I realized I had been asking the same question my entire life. I told her a story. When I went to NYU, I was studying acting. But what I really wanted to do was tell stories, make movies. I just didn't think I knew enough. I thought there was some secret knowledge I was missing, some magical gate I had to pass through. And one day, my roommate gave me my first filmmaking lesson. It lasted maybe 10 minutes. He said, You put the actors here, you put the camera here, you shoot the scene from 3 different angles, then you cut it together. That was it. No mystery, no secret society, no permission slip. So we made a movie with an old camera and 2 VCRs because that's what we had. And somehow it worked. Not because we knew everything, because we started. So I told the Egyptian girl, you can make any movie you want. I'll help you. She wasn't completely convinced, but she did it. She made the film. And something happened to me that day. Something I didn't expect. That was the day I became a teacher. Not because somebody gave me the title, but because I finally understood the assignment. I had spent years trying to inspire audiences through stories, and suddenly I realized I had just done exactly that. Not through a movie, not through a novel, not through an award, through a conversation. I had helped somebody trust themselves. I had shown somebody what was possible, and that changed everything. 6 months later, after years of rejection, I published my first novel. Looking back, I don't think that's a coincidence because something fundamental had shifted. I stopped waiting. I stopped chasing somebody else's version of success. I stopped asking for permission, and I started doing the work. More importantly, I started helping other people do the work. The irony is that the thing I had spent years searching for was already inside of me. The thing that makes great artists great isn't that they become Spielberg or Nolan or Tarantino, is that they become more themselves. I've been doing this for 30 years. I've spent 18 years teaching. I've been fortunate enough to win an Emmy, a Peabody, and a DuPont Award. My students have gone on to win Emmys, Peabodys, Film Festival Awards, Writing Awards, Acting Awards, and honestly, I am more proud of their achievements than my own. Because every one of those successes started the same way. Not with technique, not with equipment, not with connections, with permission. Permission to trust themselves, permission to follow what genuinely moves them, permission to create. That's why I've spent years developing a system around storytelling. Not just how to write, not just how to direct, but how to connect your work to the things that genuinely activate your imagination. Because when your work connects to something real inside of you, it has the best chance of connecting with the audience. That's the foundation of everything I teach. Finding the core, making choices that support that core, communicating them clearly, again and again. If you're an aspiring filmmaker, writer, actor, storyteller, I've put together a free resource called the Storytelling Starter Kit. It's a collection of exercises and frameworks I use to help artists find their voice, connect to the core of their work, and tell stories that resonate. The link is below. And if this video connected with you, hit like and subscribe because this channel isn't really about filmmaking. It's about helping artists trust themselves. And remember, don't just direct your movies, direct your life.